Aiken 2370 size 4, and it does have the 7X long. Good substitute. Another one is a TMC 300. You want the length. Okay, let's get that hook. Is that hook in the yeah? I'm just looking at. Okay.
Just need to move this that way. There you go.
All right, here we go. This is a smelt pattern. It was tied originally and it became the State Fly of Vermont. I sent a link in the email Jerry just sent. If you really want to read up on the streamer, it's actually kind of a fascinating history. And I don't think most states really have a state fly, but it's quite interesting. Okay, so here we go. Thread, black thread. I have a 6/0 here. If you have something a little heavier, that's excellent too. Like I said, this breathes a little bit of flavor of a salmon fly. Hooks, you're going to need quite a bit of thread. So we're going to start in front of the point of the hook. Just a little bit. It's going to be toward the back. So we're actually going to wrap back. Got a little lump there. Hold on. And you're going to wrap this back so that it hangs vertical to the hook point. Oh, golly. Miss Molly, let's carry that over. Okay, here we go. That looks better. Okay, so that your thread should hang at the same level as your hook point, and actually we can go about one more wrap back. That looks good. Can people not see that really now? So that's a little, it really won't show up if I turn it sideways because it's hanging, it has to hang parallel. A lot of these call for a little bit of wax on your thread. I have some beeswax that I'm going to use tonight, so it's not a bad thing to do. It's just put a little wax. It holds everything down a little better. So what you need from your packet now is a piece of wood duck feather. Where's my wood duck? Hang on. Lots of layers. And this table's got something sticky on it. Makes it really. Could you just grab one of those over there, Jerry? I'm sorry. It could blow on the floor too, for all we know. No. On the table over there, there's some already cut. It should be black and white. Sorry, folks. Technical. There we go. Okay. Here's your wood duck. You see that? It would be okay. So you're gonna hang on tight to these bars. Okay, you're gonna take it and turn it sort of sideways. It's not easy to do it again. You turn it sideways and then pull straight. Hang on to those fibers, and then you're going to just stroke the feather so it's nice and straight. A few fibers would, huh? I didn't count them.
I know, but I mean about
a quarter of an inch, maybe 3/8.
The bar.
Because you're going to have to pull this in half, so you want to have enough. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to have to do this off camera for a minute, just so I don't.
I'm afraid you guys at home might not have too good a wood duck. We didn't have a whole lot to share.
But you can also substitute even up like, I'm trying to think, anything that's got a white spot on it. Trying to think of the substitutions. Okay, so again, the amount of length of the wood duck is going to be about the same as your hook gap. And I know that doesn't show up too well. And you want to keep it up on end when you tie this in.
In other words, do you want it parallel or flat to the tendon?
You want it vertical. It's going to be vertical. So you don't want to flatten this down because there's two sides. You want it to stand up straight. Does that make sense? Okay, we're gonna pinch
On
it.
edge, on edge
On
on
the
the hook.
edge. So I'm gonna wrap it very loosely. Reposition a bit. I'm gonna have to turn this up because I need to see. Turn it sideways. So I didn't do that. Your camera?
It'll come back.
Okay. We need to focus again.
It's coming.
Well, it looks, you can kind of see vertically. Here comes.
I get it closer.
Yeah, it's
Same
hard.
here.
Oh,
But feel free to look at one of the samples too.
Okay.
So you're going to wrap back just a couple of wraps just to secure it. And then you're going to bring forward. I'm going to trim some off. This does help build your body a little bit. So I just kind of hold this with my other hand. Again, when you tie it, try to keep it on the top of the hook. Things get real precise, you know, and especially when you get into salmon fly tying, it's real important to keep things precise and kind of on the sparse side. You're going to tie in your feather and then you're going to go back. Again, your tie-in point is always going to be at the same point as your tie-in point for your feather, which is parallel to the hook point, not the hook bar, hook point. The difference. Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay, so now you're gonna have a small piece of what they call oval tinsel. It looks like a braid almost. I'm gonna cut some of this. Do not cut too much length off because you will need the length for wrapping. This is gonna be your ribbing. If you don't have oval tinsel at home, you can actually just use a piece of silver wire. It will work as well. So we're gonna tie it in, but you make sure when you tie these things in, you wanna get used to tying these in under the hook. As much as you can, get used to that because that's where, okay, my tie-in point. If you can, if you put it like on a diagonal, just slightly and then tie it in. Can people see what we've got here? We're gonna go back again, back. No, don't go back. We're gonna go all the way to the front now. Wrap thread the forward all the way to about 1 or 2 eye lengths. You know, all the way here to about, I'm going to leave about 2 eye widths back because we're going to leave room up here. It's really important not to tie too much stuff in too heavy. Yes.
There's some confusion deciding about the oval tinsel and some of this stuff like.
That's a little heavy.
Yeah.
I have some.
No, we have it.
Here.
But make sure, fellas, you've got the
oval tinsel looks like a braid. It's very, very thin. The other piece that you have is called mylar tinsel. Mylar looks like this. It's kind of shiny and flat. Oval tinsel is actually a round. Let's see if I can. There's what oval tinsel. Yes.
There we go.
Is this oval off the rib?
This is your rib.
Yeah.
So again, you can always use a silver wire. With the Silver Doctor, it's a salmon fly. They actually do use a silver wire instead. And so it's just as effective. Yeah, it says, does that say, I'll say, I want to show you this brand anyway.
Yes. Yes.
No worries. Okay, this product is a company called La Gourton. I think it's French. It's an excellent tinsel. Oh, it's upside down.
You let the tag in, go all the way to the hook eye? As you're tying it in.
You can actually tie it with, I should have done that. You can actually, have a little more length of your oval tinsel, wrapping it across the body. I didn't tie in quite as much, but yes. Again, you're putting a little bit of a body. Okay, we're going to tie in that tinsel. And again, don't cut this too short because you will need a lot of length on this. Actually, I did cut it really long. When you tie the tinsel in, you're going to need to tie it in with the gold side. There's a gold side on some of these tinsels are gold. I'm sorry. There's a gold side. And then if you can see, there's a silver side on the back. So you're going to tie it in with the gold side facing up.
Okay.
Because once you flip it over to start wrapping, I'll show you that in a sec.
On one side.
There's a gold side and a silver. So if you can see this, my gold side is facing up. That's quite a commotion. Okay, and I'm going to show you now. Once you have it in, make sure I've got all my notes correct. The gold side face up, the thread will stay in front about those 2 eye widths back. Right there. And now this is the fun part. So you're going to bring this tinsel up and over. So now you can see that the silver side is facing up. And we're going to start wrapping. Edge to edge, you don't need to overlap, just edge to edge. Make sure you maintain tension on this tinsel at all times. Because if you let go, you will be doing it again. Trust me, I've been edge to edge.
Tinsel, okay. I think you need tinsel. Give me a piece of this.
Medium. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Silver side faces up.
Body,
Yeah.
right? Why you took the first time to the body, you make the base, then the silver.
Yeah, once you flip that over, the gold side will be facing down as you did. Okay, so you're going to wrap back to the point where you tied in your, again, even with the hook point, you stop there. You just measure it by holding it parallel. Okay, then still hanging onto that tinsel, we're going to go back the other way. It's so pretty.
And this is the point where if you have a rotary vise, you
does
break
help.
it out.
I'm just used to doing it this way. Yes, a rotary vise. This is just the way I've learned with the salmon fly tying. I maintain better control myself.
So you're leaving your black pot back there, you're not going all the way back.
You want to just stop the tinsel at the tie-in point. Let me show you.
The tie-in point being the hook.
The tie-in point is even with the point of the hook. Yes.
That's what I meant. So you got a little bit of a black pot here.
Yes. Oh yeah. You don't want to cover up your pretty wood duck. Okay. So we're going to keep going. Good. How are we doing? It's pretty, isn't it? Makes a beautiful body.
It is.
Okay, so then again, they recommend that you wax your thread a little bit before tying that tinsel off. It just kind of helps everything stick. And so you're going to tie off the tinsel at the bottom of the hook. Try to keep, this is something that's done in salmon fly tying all the time. Everything is like on the bottom. It's all tied in. Okay, a couple wraps. And then I like to wrap forward a couple times too. Just so I know that's secure. And then I trim off my tinsel. Yes. How we doing? Okay. Very nice. Did you let go? Oops. Oops. Okay, so now we're going to take our oval tinsel, because since we've been wrapping this way, we're going to counter wrap and bring it straight out and then start. Now, these are going to have a space between them, and try to space them evenly as you possibly can. You can tie with a little space in between. I cannot see. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to turn that just a little. Put my specs on here. Hope this is If it's not spaced, just back it up and do it again until you get it like you want it. And again, you're going to tie that in up.
Looks pretty good, Meg. It's even.
Behind, and then I like to wrap it forward over it, just make sure it's secure, and then you're going to trim.
See, I haven't had a.
What do you need?
What you need?
The silver tinsel, the
Mylar.
Get a Mylar one.
You need Mylar tinsel.
Yeah, let me get rid of those there.
Pretty soft.
That's more.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. Oh, that does look pretty good. I can see really close of it.
We're not there.
Okay. Now. I know I keep saying I don't. Do I say a lot of ums, or you know? Okay. Here we go. Now you're gonna take your bundle of white bucktail.
That is the thing we need.
Okay, there's a.
Just where we cut it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get a bucktail at all.
There you go. The lavender is here too.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
You got bucktail?
You may want to mention you're tying upside down.
Yeah, I turned the hook upside down. It just makes it a little easier. So get your hair stacker and you're gonna insert your bucktail. Again, this is gonna be very sparse, so you don't need a lot. Oops. Here we go.
Came off.
We might, I don't know, we're gonna see time and how time flies. Actually, there's.
You might really consider blue.
So this is actually too much, believe it or not. So I'm actually going to take about a third of this away. Trim off the back here a little bit. Oops. Okay, so your bucktail is going to extend. Oh, I wonder if I cut it too short. And this is going to be tied in on the bottom of the hook, straight on the bottom. You're going to keep the thread wraps at the head of the hook kind of sparse, but you want to tie it in so it's secure. And I'll show you it. I'm just looking at my note here. The ends of the bucktail should line up with the rear of the wood duck. So it should be right about there. Wood duck. Barry Ord Clark says wood duck. I love that. Okay, so actually mine is still a little bit not bad. You want to loose wrap first. You may have to trim this just a tad. And then once you've got a couple of wraps, you want to kind of lift that bucktail up so it's all on what is upside down. It's the bottom of the hook, but it looks like it's the top right now. And then cinch it down. Okay. But you want it to stay sparse. Can everybody see that? It's going to trim this up just a little bit. Don't trim it so close that you're going to bind down. You want a little bit there to bind down. But you don't want it extending over the eye because then you get a mess. We're giving people like anxiety here. We don't want that. Okay, so then you want to secure that with a few sparse wraps. Don't put a lot of thread wraps because you're going to be able to, it'll be too crowded and then you won't have any room left to tie in the rest. If you want to put a half hitch in there, go right ahead. The important thing is you don't want the bucktail to flare around the hook. You want it to just be nice, like right on that side of the hook. Pretty sparse. And then you're gonna put a little head cement there. If you have head cement, super glue, solaries, whatever floats your boat. But gentle on the solaries, you're using an ultraviolet or UV, just a teeny weeny drop. I'm big on using head cement.
Supposed to be white?
Huh?
What? Is it supposed to be white or lemon?
This is white on the bottom. If you think of a minnow, what color is his belly? Usually lighter than the top. White. Okay. Don't worry about a couple of stragglers. Okay. So once you've had cement, then you make a few more wraps back, it says, just to kind of neaten everything up a little bit. There you go. Not too bulky. Can't emphasize that enough, not too bulky in front there, because you've still got more to tie in. So we're going to do the same thing on the top side of the hook with the lavender. Now your lavender will be just a little more thickness than your bottom. Actually, this is a nice piece. Some people have kind of a sharp or a pink in their kit. It's actually quite pretty that way too, but for the sake of tying it the way it's the instructions say, we'll use lavender. Okay, so again, I'm taking probably a little more than I'm going to need. Put it in my stacker. Oh, guys. It's like get down in and stay. Okay, tapping, getting our. Who's there? There's somebody mentioned a way to do that without so much noise. I forgot what it is, or a piece of rubber or what, I don't know.
If you have any like foam that you get for an insole,
okay,
glue that to the bottom of one of these air stackers and it bounces so nicely and it's quiet. It's a trick. Yeah, you don't get that. But it does make it bounce well.
Yeah, this isn't
dig out an old insole you're throwing away and works great.
okay. So again, we're going to kind of measure a couple of stragglers there. I'm gonna, I don't know, I like that. Just a little bit thicker than the bottom and still a little off. So if you need to, just kind of straighten up your bucktail ever so slightly. And again, we're going to trim off some of this excess. Hook on my scissors. Okay. It's basically repeating the process only on the top of the hook. Where it gets really pretty.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
That looks good.
Okay, here we go. So again, I saw somebody do a little trick. I'm just going to show you real quick. He actually took his thread and he pinch wrapped it and wrapped it around just the bucktail first. And again, and then brought it down to the hook. I thought that was a really neat way, and it keeps it nice and stacked, nice and compact. I don't know, was everybody able to see that? You want me to do it again?
Do it one more time. It was hard to see.
Okay.
Yes, that'll help.
Okay, so you're going to bring your thread up like you're going to tie it down to the hook, but instead you're going to hold the bucktail away from just slightly, pinch wrap it around the bucktail first, and then do another pinch.
A pinch wrap is between your fingers with the thread.
And then bring it down to the
and then you come up and you come back down through your fingers
that
and
just,
down onto the.
it's nice because it keeps things a little more on top. I don't know. Mine didn't stay. So
that way the material doesn't jump on you.
It doesn't flare. Yeah, loose wraps a couple times. I think my pinch wrap actually came out. again, just to kind of make sure you just hold the end of your pinch, you know, hold it up away just to make sure it's all on top. And then go back and start securing the wraps just a little bit tighter, biting them down. Okay, and I'm gonna just do a little more trimming. Now you trim this off. And the other one, when we trim it off, I really didn't have much left to trim, but if you do have, you want to do it on an angle. Pinch it up and cut it. You can see that. I'll turn it sideways. So it's more of an angled cut. Again, minimizing the bulk and the head of the fly. And I'm just gonna a few wraps, not too much. Okay. That one is just a little beyond, could have been a little bit better. Oh, we're pretty good. Okay. And again, you want to put a few drops of head cement there, just to secure everything down, a little insurance policy. How's everybody holding up? Pretty good?
Pretty good.
This is a really cool. I love
You may want to turn that sideways more to show the whole full view. There you go.
little varnish. Again, we're going to be finishing off this head. We're not finished. So if we got a couple of stragglers sticking out, don't worry. I'm just this weird perfectionist. It's driving me nuts. I'm gonna go just while we're waiting. Okay. Now, in your kit, you're going to have some red goose slips. These are actually a goose quill. I think in the instructions, he said about 8 fibers each. Now you're going to notice these have curved. Okay, this is hard to explain. These were taken from 2 different feathers, a right and a left feather. So these should be bundled for you. Let me count here if I can get this in an angle or I can see.
You just make it cheap. So
Again, you could guesstimate a little less than a, I like to make it a little sparser, maybe about 1/8 of an inch. He said 8 fibers, but I found it looks, you just want a little flash of red there. You don't want a ton. So when you put this on, each side is going to be at an angle. I'm just going to take one of these off. You can see my fingers. I'm just using a bodkin just to split the fibers away. So when you put this on, this side is actually going to be the side for this side because you want the tip of the point to be up. Tip of the point goes up. So again, this is, go back to your tie-in point.
And the feather will flare out.
It shouldn't flare at all. Just basically see how it's curved. One side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you want, right, the flared side goes down. You're going to put this on at a slight angle too. You're going to tie it in almost like a biot, you're tying in for a little bit on a diagonal. And it should extend to approximately halfway down the length of your bucktail. I actually shortened mine up a little. I like the way it looked a little better. A couple of pinch wraps, very loose, not too much. Just a couple. You don't want to put too much. So see how the point side is on the top? And then you should have another feather. That's the opposite. If not, we screwed up. Putting it in there. Let's see.
You can do both sides.
So basically, you're going to try to, oops, this one's not the same. My biot is not facing the right direction. Let's see if we can find one that is. Here we go. And you can kind of take the feather and just stroke it with your finger. It'll straighten it out a little bit. This is off of the different part of the goose, so it's a little curvy. This is kind of important to learn when you're doing salmon flies because the way that your married wing goes up or down. Okay, again, you're gonna go back to that tie-in point, tie it in on a little bit of a diagonal. Mine's starting to try to split here. And just a couple, 3 loose wraps. It should be approximately, let me see if I can straighten that up just a wee bit.
I didn't, as I said,
That's where fingernails come in handy. It should be. I think people can see kind of how they're just flare one on each side and just adjust as needed. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to tighten my thread down just to make sure it stays put. And then you can trim the ends. Up. Miraculous. My scissors did not fall to the floor this time. Just in my lap.
See that?
Can you guys see how it's just kind of like a little. That looks good from the bottom. That's what the fish see. Looks like the minnow is bleeding, basically, or it's a gill. I don't know. I might be mistaken.
One was long and one was short.
Do you need another one? I have
No,
one.
we're fine.
Okay.
He's going.
So once you've got your goose quills in a nice position, go ahead and wrap your thread a few times. So now we're going to start building a tapered thread head. It already looks pretty good, but I'm just going to go over this. Start covering this up. So your thread head's going to be a little thicker at the top. I think. You're just going to start building thread head, not complete it. I know mine is probably a little, I could probably back a few of those wraps up because you're right. We're going to be putting a peacock. I was watching a video the other day and it was just a peacock sword on it. But the gentleman was saying that your peacock at the eye, the fibers are a little tougher, a little bit more durable. So up here, 3 or 4, I would say 4, 5 peacocks. Trim them. And try to get them all facing the same direction. They always want to slip on me. It's just going to be a little floppy no matter what. We can straighten these out with your thumbnail point. Almost there. Come on. Hang up. You can take your peacock and actually just take your thumbnail and just kind of pull it across. It'll make a nice arc there. It's supposed to. And by the time you pinch this up, it's actually almost too bent, but the edges of your peacock pearl should extend just beyond the bucktail on top, just beyond. Then you're going to start kind of getting those in position. Probably even another couple of strands would look nice. This is actually a little spot.
On top.
Yeah.
This will be your top, yeah.
Are you trying to make that peacock pearl fluff out, Meg, or you want to lay it down tighter?
It's kind of there.
Oh.
It just extends.
In other words, are you pulling opposite the way the fibers go or with the way?
That's a good question. I don't know. Don't know. I think probably with this, you want those fibers to be a little bit on the fluffy side. I am going to add a couple.
If it's going to be a streamer, I would think
I'm going to add.
you'd want to lay it down.
You're right.
but I don't know.
Live and learn. You're right. I don't,
I haven't watched this.
yeah, Barry Ordcrock will straighten us out on that. One more. No, that one wasn't got a tip on it. We need to finish quickly here.
Beyond.
You want it a bit full, you know, just full enough. I could be here all night monkeying with this, so we're just gonna finish. Yeah, it's more of a streamer effect. Okay, I'm gonna go back to our tie-in point. Loose wrap, couple wraps, and then adjust your length. Deep. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then you're going to trim your peacock curl. And I kind of try to cut things on an angle as much as I can. You know, we do it a lot of this from the top. Sorry. Okay.
So you cut those at an angle so you'll get each one of the fibers engaged with the thread when you tie it down.
That's what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want,
what
you want the
doing.
whole thing.
Okay.
Basically, yes, you do want that streamer effect. So
You also want that faded head.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's looking pretty good. So the last but not least, the final touch is the jungle cock. And you should have some jungle cock in your kit. We had some vintage stuff that, and if they're too big, I've got a couple of, these are actually, I don't know if they're sites approved. CITES is the regulatory CITES that gives you permission to own them. So I think one of the ladies who does our fly tying, salmon fly tying class sent me the too big. These are already paired up, so we use. Yeah. Just a little tip. I learned that there's a woman that I took a Zoom class for salmon fly tying. Her name is Peggy Brenner. She's amazing. But she showed us how you can actually repair the splits on a piece of jungle cock. Again, you should have a right and a left feather, I hope.
I didn't get any feathers. So
Okay.
grab a couple.
I'm going to give you the, oh, we have artificial jungle cock. This is an excellent product. I've had very good luck with this one. It's by a company called Unreal Jungle Cock. I don't know if you can see, that's really hard. I bought the, it's by a company called Aqua Flies, I believe. And these are waterproof. They're probably the best match color-wise that I've seen. And they're pretty easy to work with. Even the back has some printing on the back. I'm just going to hold those up for a minute. Not bad, huh?
No. Thank you.
Sure. These are about $12, but I think you get a sheet of 30 of them. I don't know. I got it. There's another company called Tierite, Tierite. They make another jungle cock substitute. Not too bad. These are a little bit too big. I just thought I'd show y'all. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to strip that feather a little bit because you're just going to tie in. Again, there should be a right side and a wrong. So this right side should have a little sheen to it. If I have that correct. No, there's the right side. That's better. Strip that down just a bit more. And that looks just a tiny bit of an angle. And again, don't put too many tie or threads in there because you want to be able to position them. awful pretty fly. But anyway, to repair some of the, if you get the jungle cock that's old and it has split fibers, you can use a product called Aileen's Fabric Fusion. It's actually available like in a Joanne Fabrics. And you put a little tiny bit of that on and it'll actually kind of seal up those splits a bit. Second, I'm gonna. Isn't that pretty? Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that it's colorful, but not, it's not like
no, it's not a fully dressed salmon fly, but at least it gives you a little bit of a taste of that. That feels like it's pretty. It's makes you want to go out and tie some more salmon flies. Okay, and my jumbo cock, I'm trying to make sure it's even. That looks pretty darn good. We could sit here all night and fiddle with it, but we don't have time. So, so then you're going to build your final thread head. Again, trying to keep it tapered. And we're done. A little heavier thread would have been nice. Somebody's having fun out there. And then you're just going to bring it down with a little bit of space left between that and the front of the hook. Just a little space there. And then you're going to quit finish. Thank God. And my peacock, I'll have to go back and watch the video again to see if he had any tips. He just kind of put the peacock curl on there. Yeah. You watched it? Yeah. He didn't really make a big fuss about stroking the fibers one way or the other. Or...
He took time to pick them up.
He just picked them up and put them on there. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a real exact science. It's an awful pretty.
Did he tie them in at the butt?
Huh?
Did he tie the peacock in at the butt end?
Yes.
No, yeah, you tie the butt end. You just basically trim it to where, you want these ends to be the.
But he didn't.
No, he didn't tie it in my butt. I know what you mean. No, it's not quite that casually. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to head cement this, give it a nice pretty varnish. Again, a little bit of solaries would look real pretty on this too, but I kind of like the old fashioned way. Give it a nice coat. This makes it look real polished and still it's ready there. Not bad. Not bad under pressure.
Under pressure.
Not bad under pressure.
Meg, well, thank you. You did a great job. Yeah, for your first time on camera. Great. I appreciate it. Questions, anybody?
You can kind of take your fingers.
Zoom people, we have a question. Hi, Evelyn. You have one?
Oh, she drew a picture.
Oh.
Evelyn is our artist.
Oh.
And I don't know, can you spotlight her?
Yep, we have.
Oh, what is that?
I know.
Oh, she's taking a picture.
Screenshot.
I thought she drew the, Evelyn is our artist and she will frequently watch our fly tying videos and draw the fly as we're making it. And her art is beautiful. Very pretty.
Unmute yourselves out there, Zoomers, and talk to me. Henry.
Looks nice.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
fly.
I see it. It looks nice. Fly. Very nice.
Good job there, Meg.
Yeah, thank you, Meg. Very
Bedtime.
nice job.
Thank you.
I took a picture so I can draw it.
I just love the color. And if anybody wants some more material, just come see me and give you the.
It looks very patriotic to me.
Yes, I know. I thought that too.
Henry, you disappeared on me. Got it.
Yeah.
I wanted to say hello. Henry has been
Hello,
tying
I'm here.
for a long time, and I haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah.
Too.
Do you see me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
Oh, my camera's on. I don't know.
go home and practice those the little midges. It
Yeah.
gets a lot easier. And like I said, my post could have been a little
Henry's
smaller.
Henry's an excellent tire. Good to see you.
Try turning the fly
Same here.
post away from you. It's like interesting.
Jerry, where are you at the pizza parlor?
What's that?
Where are you meeting at the pizza parlor?
Yeah, we're at the pizza pub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who's that? I didn't. See
Henry.
Oh, is that Henry? Okay. Yeah, we're at the pizza place again. And loving. I can't seem to get the whole gallery here. And maybe if I quit the I'm going to try to quit the Zoomy thing here. Not yet. Don't do that. No. I'm having trouble. I want to get everybody there. How about if I visualizer? Here we go. There we go. Now can I get the whole gallery? No.
Family again.
You can turn your recording on now too, if you wanted. You're still recording, Jerry.
What?
You're still recording.
Yeah, I'm still recording. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll stop that. But it's good to see you.
I like the family picture.
Yeah. It's good to see all of you. I hope you guys were able to follow tonight. Please give me any suggestions through the week, and I'll try to change anything that needed to be changed. We had quite a problem tonight getting this hooked up, and Scott did a wonderful job of salvaging it. And I think I've got a new plan. We're going to that blackout was caused by us losing the Wi-Fi here at the pizza pub. So I switched to my cell phone, and once I did that, we remained stable. So I'm going to keep using the cell phone to broadcast from. I think that'll work better to get the Zoom through. So I hope you could all hear enough, and we're trying to be quiet tonight. So that's about it for this week. Now next week we're going to be tying the Dirty Hippie Stomper. Okay, it's a switch, and let me see what else we're tying, because I need that to check the booklet. Whatever was on the menu for next week, besides the Dirty Hippie Stomper, is what we're going to tie. So we just switched the the Charlie's Midge and the Hippie Stomper around, so that we didn't have two heavy-duty flies tonight. And Meg's going to tie next week too.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the Dirty Hippie, not the Hippie Stomper. I'm sorry. The Dirty Hippie. Yeah, sorry. Dirty Hippie. And what else, Joe?
I don't know.
What else is on what else you tying next week, Meg? Huh? And what else? The other one?
Number 6 is the Holy Grail Pattern.
Holy Grail. That's it for next week. So it's the Dirty Hippie and the Holy Grail for next week. That's what to be ready for.
Holy cow.
And we should be back on regular schedule after that. So Meg will be tying next week too. And I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys have fun tonight, and I'm going to close this out unless there's any question.
No, goodbye.
See you
Good
next
job.
week.
Very good.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Okay, we'll see you guys. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, the posts on these are much better. The
Really?
one tied
Oh, there I can see everybody.
sideways.
Now I can see you on it. Can't hear it.
Do I press leave?
Okay.
All right. Go for it. Oh.